better people's lives and give good around, force good around the world. With a breakthrough technology, it's first to market, it's also patent protected. Is this a shocker to anybody? So our medical system is broken, but to stop the bright red bleeding or to fix broken bones, we're in a perfect place. But when it comes to internal things, we tend to focus on the symptoms and not the root causes. How do we do that? We chase it with medication. And what happens once you get on one medication? It tends to cascade to another medication. Some of you guys, you know what's funny? I want to present to you some things that are very obvious. We think about it, but we don't know the solution. My job is to kind of open up your mind to start to see something as a massive technology and a massive breakthrough. What this does to the individual is crazy. What it can do to the household is pretty crazy, but what's doing to U.S. healthcare, we spent $3 trillion last year alone on the U.S. healthcare. We're all feeling the pinch there. We have an epidemic increase in disease occurrence. We have 2.2 million in hospital adverse reactions caused by pharmaceuticals. Now guys, as I go through this, I'm not here to knock the medical system. It has its place, but it is not the first line of defense, okay? Also, deaths caused by conventional medicine is astounding, almost 800,000 per year. As we know, our genes carry the blueprint to our health, but through daily toxins and stress, our genes are shutting off at an alarming rate. So what I would like to do right now, I'm going to get everybody to stand up here in a second. And what you're going to do is participate so you just don't look at me. You make me nervous sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you all to stand up. And when I bring up something up here that has affected you or somebody close to you in your family, I want you to sit down. So everybody stand up. So we know that 50 million Americans suffer from some type of autoimmune challenge. So if that's affected you or somebody close to you, please sit down. We know that 54 million Americans suffer from some type of inflammatory condition. So if that's affected you or somebody close to you, go ahead and sit down. So I want you to look around right now, especially the younger generation or anybody that's out here. As I go through this, I want you to think about one thing. How do you recognize an opportunity? You have to recognize the marketplace and also have a solution for that marketplace. Every single time I've done this, y'all can stay standing because I'll get you. Every time I do this, just on the first two when I'm going through this, I always get 90% of the room sitting down. From 50 to 500 plus people in the room, it never fails. 1 in 3 deaths are connected to cardiovascular diseases. Wow. Speaks. 57% of the U.S. population suffer from some type of digestive disorder. That's not 57 million, that's 57%. And then 80% of the women out there deal with hormonal imbalances. So, you guys are like, so y'all go ahead and sit down. Give them a round of applause. Well, only 4 have ever stay standing. So what we're dealing with is cellular communication breakdown. Our cells are not communicating like they did when they were young. So, how many of y'all have ever heard of redox? So I just kind of talk like this. Can y'all hear me okay like this? Yeah. Let me do this for a while as we get this fixed. How many of y'all have ever heard of redox signaling molecules? Before Asea. How many of y'all before Asea have ever heard of redox signaling molecules? Did you have? What's your background?
I'm a therapist.
Okay, therapist. Now, I've asked that simple question over the past 7 years I've been a part of this company to thousands of people now. And now I've got 11 people that told me they've heard about redox signaling molecules prior to this. How many of y'all have heard of antioxidants before Asea? Just make sure you participate, because you don't, you're the ones that are going to call it from you. And no joke, guys, I know I'm going to have some fun. But as you're an associate or you're a guest, my job is, I feel like it's a heavy cross to bear. I believe everybody should be on this product, and everybody should be on this product. So I don't want to get in the way of making sure you guys have an understanding, because I heard about Asea 3 years prior, but the only thing I knew, it was from salt water from Salt Lake City, dealing with something called redox signaling molecules. I'm in, but I didn't look at it, and it cost me 3 years of freedom. So we live and die at the cellular level. We know we need a healthy heart, healthy lungs, healthy eyes, but it's truly healthy heart cells, healthy eye cells, healthy lung cells. And our body's comprised of over 75 trillion cells, and all those little cells, little bags of salt water, and they have mitochondria in the cell, which is also the power plant of the cell. But they also have which throws off ATP, which is energy in the cell, but it also throws off reductant and oxidative molecules called redox signaling molecules. And forever, they thought it was just the waste product of the cells, just the exhaust of the cells. But in 1998, these three gentlemen discovered the importance of that these are probably the most important part of the cells, the communication part of the cells, and they won a Nobel Prize for their discovery. Here's a book, and it's not here. This was supposed to be a brochure. How many of y'all have heard of mad cow disease? How many of y'all have heard of a toxic shock syndrome? Well, the gentleman who solved both of those developed a product called activated lactoferrin. His name is by the name of Dr. Narain Naidu. He's been on shortlist twice for the Nobel Prize. He absolutely adores our founder, Vertus Norton, who I'll discuss here in a little bit. Vertus reached out to him about 4 or 5 years ago, asked if he would write a brochure about our technology, our product. He looked at it and he came back with a 550-page college core curriculum book in 6 months. Now here's the thing. That's different, right? But we're talking about a guy whose mind's been the most respected in the medical and scientific field in the world. And he heard about an area of science and medicine he didn't know much about, and he came back with this. Let me ask you a question for those y'all watching this. How do you recognize an opportunity? So if we look at this, to be able to replenish our cells with redox signaling molecules would be groundbreaking, to say the least. But due to the highly reactive nature of these, like little fleeting little angels, they said it's absolutely impossible. You know what? They still say it's impossible until Asea. Now, after 2 decades of research and millions of dollars behind them, a team of scientists led by atomic medical physicists achieved the impossible, and they created and stabilized redox signaling molecules outside of the body and created the world's first and only redox signaling molecule supplement. How many of y'all have ever owned your own business? How many of y'all have ever been in network marketing before? How many of you guys just can't stand up? No, I'm just playing. This is what you got to wrap your arms around. Those of y'all want to be a part of something massive. If we look in the surrounding area, let's say there's 250,000 people. I don't know the population, but other 250,000 people, how many of those people have cells?
Everybody.
Think about it. I want you to think about it, because I'll ask several questions also this afternoon for us to think. Not getting away of the message, but that is the first and only redox signaling molecule supplement on the planet. Now, to understand the technology, you need to understand how we got here. I'm going to give you a little, watch the Genesis video. If you have not watched this Genesis video, you need to take the time to watch the video to get more detail on why we are even here. See, we're not supposed to be here. Y'all ever seen that show, Flip This House? See, I was just in Waco, Texas. That one show is blown. Thank goodness, because Waco's had a black cloud over them for a long time. No joke, guys. They're just up the street from me. That one show changed everything. So think about it. They're taking and rehabbing a project and flipping it. That's the only thing they were going to do with this product. They knew that these gentlemen had this product. They had it stabilized outside the body for 20 minutes, and it'd go back to salt and water. Now, they couldn't get it off dead center. They burned through over $20 million in public funding. They're running out of money, so they reached out to Vertus Norton, and he's like Yoda for strategy. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through their bio, but he was compared to Steve Jobs. Okay, it kind of gives you an idea. So he was asked to sit on the board. He was retired from Kraft Foods. He was the head of a $40 billion strategy of Kraft Foods, and he was asked to sit on the board. And he was retired, and he looked at all the information, said, I'll sit on your board. And what he found out, once he got on the board, they're absolutely broke. So what would you do? He did what most people would do with it. It's very sharp. He knew these guys had no idea what they had their hands on. So he put some investors together to buy the technology. And the only thing they were going to do was fix it and flip it. That's it. So they bought it, brought it in-house, brought some really sharp medical minds and scientific minds, and over the next few months, they were able to fix it. And then they were able to stabilize outside the body for up to 1.5 years. How many of y'all have not tasted the product in here? Everybody's tasted it. So you haven't tasted it. I want to see if I can sell you on the taste of the product. You watch this. Now this is the good marketing for me. Okay? How many of y'all, when y'all first tasted it, tasted like water? Raise your hand. That back there. How many of y'all in here, when you first tasted like chlorine? Raise your hand. You sold yet? How many of y'all in here had a like a, say, like pool water taste? Raise your hand. How many of y'all had a salt water taste? Hydrogen peroxide, nasty. How many of y'all just had absolute nasty? So here's the thing. Why does it do that? Everybody's body chemistry is different, right? And as you drink it more and more, what you guys will notice, it starts to taste more like water. Because why? Because your body's getting back in balance. So if you're a guest, or if it's your first time here, why don't I ask that question in front of people that are like, man, I don't want to taste that stuff. Because this is a category creator. I'm speaking to the associates, and you guessed you get it for free. You have to understand, it's a category creator. We've never seen this before. It's 100% native to the body. You do no harm. And if you look at this, they brought this in house, they fixed it. Now they need to see if people would drink it. So they got 40 friends and family members and church members that come in house to drink it. Now when they came in, let's go back. Where are we based out of? Salt Lake City. And the products, the ingredients of the product? Salt and water. Guess what? This is crazy. So if you look at, they walk in, they go see if people drink it. They had mason jars and empty milk cartons filled with this stuff. And they ask you to drink it. Now, we're not in college anymore. Okay, you know. These are some smart people, but the Nortons had credibility of these people, so to their credit, they drink it. And the 40 people grew from 40 to 135 people in 20 countries in 2 months. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest, how many of y'all in here have had an 8, 9, or 10 product experiences from? Raise your hand. Look at this. How many of y'all in here, on a scale from 8, 9, and 10, have seen somebody close to you have a product experience at that level? Now look at the hands keep going up. Now here's the deal. They grew to this number of people, and they wanted to see, and they knew that people would drink it, but people were having huge experiences on the product. So they reached out. Burris called a friend of his that ran an $11 billion pharmaceutical company. Because what was their focus? Fix it and flip it. They've done it. They know people drink it. Now you can sell it. That was their whole focus. They fly down and sit around a boardroom table, and this is what they said. We cannot believe what you've done. But we are prepared to write you a check so big that you're not going to want to talk to anybody else. Now, how many of y'all will be a little bit excited? Think about it. But there's a catch. What's the catch? You have to shut it down. Who are the 40 people? Now, there are about a half a dozen people that had life-changing benefits. And Vernon said there's at least a half dozen people we don't believe will be faring too well next week or two. And the company said, people deal with that every day. If you want to work with us, you have to shut it down. What do? Now, it's easy to say emotionally what you do here, but I can tell you this, we know exactly what they did. They walked away from the money and put principles and purpose over ego and economics, and Asea was born. They launched a network marketing company during the worst economy since the Great Depression, selling salt water from Salt Lake City with no network marketing experience. Think about it. Why? Because the only way we could take this to market, you can't go conventional style because this is testimonial based. The only way we can take this to market is through direct sales. So we're going to talk about what is it, what does it do, and why do we need it. What is it? It's a cell signaling supplement. This is where we manufactured this just out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, I know I have a southern accent. I've kind of worked in it as much as I can. And I also have Yankee speed tied into it. If I speak too fast, wiggle your fingers. When you put it together, it's called mumble mouth. I got it. He said, I can't understand you. You're going too quick. I said, I got it. Just kind of go. One time I told him, just throw papers at me. Don't do that. So this is where we manufacture this, just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. The manufacturing facility is FDA approved facility. It's also NSF certified. We're also certified by Biogenetics as a certified redox signaling molecule supplement. Now, Biogenetics, they are like the law for the pharmaceutical industry. They say what's in the bottle, or what's on the label has to be in the bottle. And they certify every single batch that goes out as certified redox signaling molecule supplement. And we keep a 2-year sample of every batch, just in case of an audit. So if anybody ever can say it's just salt water, just show them that. That's it. It's real simple, guys, because over 60% of their employee base are PhDs, smart people, right? Right? So there's 2 places in the world this stuff is manufactured. Well, I know I'm going to tell you 4, but there's cells inside of living things. Human cells, plant cells, spray your flowers, and animal cells. And inside this production facility right here, outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. We shipped $126 million of product to 18 distribution centers, providing for over 33 countries last year. That production facility is designed to take us to 800 million today. Now, to reiterate where we are, it's a new category of science, it's a new discovery. It has the power to turn on the immune system to help in the body resolve communication issues by affecting cellular and genetic expression, powerful and affordable. And Asea, to repeat, is the only company in the world where you can get this powerful redox signaling molecule technology. Now, guys, you're going to hear a lot of testimonials today. I'm so excited about the rest of the day, so I'm going to get through some of this stuff pretty quick. To understand what Asea is, you also need to understand what it is not. It is not a vitamin, mineral, antioxidant, or exotic juice. It is not essential oils, CBD oil, magnetic therapy, structured water, any of this kind. I'm not saying that those are not important. Those are materials. It's like this hotel. It took materials to build this hotel. But did the hotel build itself? No. It needed a contractor. And for the first time ever in wellness, we had the materials and the contractor. The contractor happens to be Asea. It goes beyond nutrition and ingredients. This impacts your health at a depth that no other supplement has ever come close to achieving before. So what should this tell you? It makes everything work better. Everything work better. If you're on some nutrition, you say, well, this is what I need. This makes that work better. Does that make sense? It's a contractor. So what does it do? It's like a city going through a rolling blackout. If you're in your home and the light goes off in your bedroom, you know what to do. You change the light. If the lights go out in your house, you know what to do. You go to the breaker box. But if you have a city-wide blackout, you're dealing with a system communication failure, right? Much like our bodies. Once we're born, we have 100% cellular communication. Now push the button. Let me do this. Because it is kind of cool. This is like, let me go back. Let me go there. Go to the city. Anyways, like when we're born, once we're born, we have 100% cellular communication up until the age of puberty. And after the age of puberty, it starts to deplete 10% every decade thereafter. So if you're bumping around the age of 50, you're starting to see certain things. You might not be getting around like you used to, right? If you're in your 20s or 30s, you're starting to see things. You get sore and all this kind of stuff. But what if we could simply reintroduce these cell signaling molecules to the body and just turn on the genes like they were when they were young? That would be the massive breakthrough. But for the longest time, they said it was absolutely impossible until we brought the Asea Redox to the table. Now, I've got a good friend of mine. The birth of he and his wife's second-born child, she had a lower back discomfort, and it manifested itself down into her legs. Now, they have over 20-plus years experience in the wellness industry. So if you could think of it, or it's what's going through your head, they didn't try this, they tried it. They went global. They spent a lot of money, and nothing helped. Changed their beds, changed everything. He went on a, like I said, global search. He stumbles across Asea right when it's just beginning. He knew it was 100% non-toxic, 100% native, could do no harm, brings it home to his wife. She takes a shot of this stuff, and here's a crazy thing. What she'd been dealing with over 12 months, instantly she stopped hurting. Now, she had all the right materials. She's just missing what? The contractor. So it turned on the switch. Now, this is where I like to give realistic expectations. We know that 50% of the people get results in 30 days, and 90+% of the people get results in 90 days. It's taking you a certain amount of time to get where you are. Give this product at least 90 days, okay? Don't chinch when it comes to health. What experts are saying, this is Anne Louise Gettleman. She's been labeled the first lady nutrition. She's written 30 bestsellers, okay? She had never heard about Asea. She had never heard about redox signaling molecules, and this is her space. When she first heard about it, she did her research. She was so blown away, she asked to see if she could speak on our stage. And she was quoted in saying, Asea, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. How do you recognize an opportunity? She's rewriting all 30 of her books to put a chapter around Asea. I did a meeting in Waco, Texas, as I was talking about just last week for lunch. I had a lady there. She had an 80-year-old lady, who's I think the world of, brought her as a guest. She goes, every time I talk to Barbara, she's always talking about she talk to the hand. Well, this lady's going through a health issue. You know what brought her there that day? Now, she'd been talking to her for 2 years. You know what brought her that day? She came across Anne Louise Gettleman. She'd been following her, and she got her book, saw the information about Asea, and that's what blew her away. So for the associate base, it's coming. Dr. Gary Samuelson, atomic medical physicist, said this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health that we have ever seen. Pay attention to the word spearhead. Guys, it's kind of like this. You walk into a nutrition store, or you've got network marketing, so you can call whatever you want to do, because you know, it's kind of like, and you're in a pool that my daddy can beat up your daddy. It's true, and I'm a massive fan of the industry. I hang my hat with this company. Doesn't mean everybody's going to want to build it, but I'll tell you, everybody should be on the product. It makes everything work better. So you walk into the store, you got your nutrition over here, you got your superfruits over here, you got your proteins over here, you got your looking good stuff over here. And this is all the stuff that you already know. Everybody kind of plays in the same pool, right? And on the back of the wall, you see this word that says redox. Small little door says redox. You walk over, what's this? You open the door to a whole brand new universe we never even knew existed. And we control the space. We have hundreds of medical professionals joining us because of the heavy validation and scientific proof behind this stuff. Guys, this is crazy. Well, how we're seeing this medical professionals jump behind us. We have thousands of lives being changed on this technology part, much like myself and my family. And the only thing we do is drink it and rub it. Now, I think sometimes people kind of get a kick out when I say that kind of stuff, and I get it. You have to understand you're dealing with a product extremely elegant. Well, it's simple for people like me. Drink it and rub it. And I always tell people, if you're not noticing anything, drink more, rub more. Right? That's what we're talking about. That's my technical training. Okay? Now, if you want to get deeper into the science and all the information there, it's there as deep as you want to go. I just showed you a book. I mean, there's a lot of information behind this, but I just know it's 100% native, 100% non-toxic, can do no harm, helps the cells communicate like they're supposed to, so I just drink it and rub it. So it's a very simple, like I said, it's an elegant product. It keeps things moving forward. So why do we need it if we don't already know? Now, guys, I've been blessed enough to sit on the global council with this company for the past 5.5 years. And I do mean blessed, because I've been in this industry for 19 years. I've been full-time for 17 years. I sat on the council with a different company before, and we're just figureheads. This company listens. They listen to the field. They don't just tell us what they're going to do, and it's amazing to be a part of that. And I mean, truly blessed. Now, when they shared this information with us from Tart Laboratories, this was done 2 years ago, before they presented it to us, before we released it to the field. And they presented the white paper information. Y'all know what that is? Heavy science, technical stuff. So they're presenting us stuff, but I got the bigger picture. I was so lit on fire, I couldn't even hardly see straight, and I'll share a little bit more about that here in a second. But this is the basic, what they share with us. From Tart Laboratory, the third-party validated study, showed an 8-week study that Asea redox was shown to activate 5 important gene signaling pathways by up to 31% in 5 major areas of health. Y'all remember the pie chart before? Y'all remember when y'all stood up? You remember how many people we affected? Immune system, inflammatory response. How many people in this room we already affected? 90%, never fails. Cardiovascular health, healthy digestion, and hormone modulation. Now, any one of these 5 areas can open up to 15 more pathways. Check this out. Now, this is third-party validated, and I'm telling you, as an associate base, just keep things simple. It is what it is. Okay? Insulin signaling. Without saying it, what can that do? Spinal cord injury. Human thyroid stimulating. Anybody know anybody's dealing with thyroid issues? It's crazy what we're seeing out there. Ovarian infertility genes and NRF2 pathway. Now, as I said, when I sat on council, they presented this information to us. I didn't get it, but I got it. Does that make sense? I didn't know how to. I'd come home, my wife would say, well, what'd they tell you? I said, I don't know how to tell you. but I'm fired up. Count us out. Quit playing, right? So here's the deal. I walked in, I said, we're going on break. They presented it to the medical board the night before via Zoom. So I stepped outside and I called Dr. Maureen Hayes. She's double board, she's very smart. So I might not be smart, but I know smart people. So I got out and I walked out and I called her. I said, Dr. Hayes, is this what we think it is? She goes, Terry, it's actually bigger. We've always known it's doing this. Now we have 100% proof. Wow. Not anecdotal, proof. And by the way, I'll show you on the back of the bottle. All that's on the back of the bottle. Athletes. We got any athletes in here? Want to be athletes? Know any athletes? Anybody want to lose some weight? I want you to pay attention to this because those few people that were still standing, let's see if we can get you here. So this is a mice study. Real simple. Now to present this, just so you understand, no mice were hurt in this study. So as you look at this, this was presented at a medical conference. To attend this medical conference, you have to be a part of the medical industry. So it's not like you and me walking up, we take the free stuff off the booth. You have to be a part of it. To present at this conference, you have to have 100% proof in your findings. No, you can't go there and do a sales spiel. You have to have proof of your findings, okay? And then they do what they call a board presentation. What they did, they found they had these mice. They run to 100% total exhaustion. What they found after giving them Asea for just 7 days, they ran 29% further to total exhaustion. They were utilizing more fat as fuel. Do you realize when you're working out today, you're exercising, the first 30 to 40 minutes, what are you burning? Sugars. What if it's scientifically shown that 20 minutes, you drink 4 ounces of this 20 minutes before exercise, as soon as you take your first step, you're burning fat as fuel. Think you get better results? I can tell you what it means for professional athletes. So you get longer, faster, stronger, and recover much, much quicker. Y'all do squats? You do squats ever? You walk by a desk and you did squats, you hit a corner, and you fall to the ground, you can't stop yourself. It hurts so bad. Drink this stuff. That was the biggest thing that caught my attention, just on that alone. But we got a good friend of mine, Sean Burke. He's an Ironman athlete. At the age of 51, he was going to have to retire because his body wouldn't recover so he can train. He stumbles across this product at a booth at a conference somewhere, gets it, starts drinking, and he's able to train again, and he was able to start racing again. Not only was he racing, he was winning in all age groups. He's 59 now, and he's running faster today than he did in his 20s. We talked about from the inside out. Now I want to talk about from the outside in. This is Renew 28. We call it Renew 28 because your skin cells should renew every 28 days. But what happens as you get older? It takes a little bit longer. Dang skin. So you look at this. Y'all see the difference between the left and the right? Less than 28 days just by helping the skin cells communicate like they're supposed to. This product's got a 5-star seal of approval from Dermatest out of Germany, also from Stevens Institute out of Dallas, Texas. Those percentages you're seeing up there. But I think pictures say more. You all see the difference in those two pictures. Less than 28 days, left to right. Just by simply helping the skin cells communicate like they're supposed to. They do it. Now I've got a good friend, a good friend of ours. Their son is my son's age. He's 17. He's going through this condition of redness in the bottom. We told him about a product. Now she's a nurse practitioner, so she knows all about. She never heard about redox, but she's don't post that one. She's smarter than me. So anyway, I told her, and I said, here it is. Well, anyway, her son's taking something that is the things he's taking. He has to get tested every 90 days to test his liver. I don't know. Maybe that might not be good. I think I might use something native to the body. But like I said, he said, now here's the thing. In all due respect, it is a category creator. Easy to understand, but easy to define, but yet hard to understand. Y'all can see this, hour and 15 minutes. You guys are going to play with the product today, especially on lunch break if you're new, and we'll do some things today with this stuff. But if you have a place of discomfort, you can rub this stuff where you hurt, and I'll show you some other stuff this afternoon. But you can rub it where you hurt, Rub it multiple times, and you'll be amazed what you see starts to happen. But about 90% of the people that's out there. Also, just general health. Y'all can see the difference here? But I want to introduce you to my favorite picture of all time. I want you to meet Rose. Rose, at the age of 84, went to go see her doctor. Her doctor happens to be her son, so her doctor got her on Asea. He said, drink 2 ounces in the morning and 2 ounces in the evening of Plow Renew twice daily. She does it, and she starts noticing certain simple things, but she sees herself in the mirror every day, so she's not noticing the visual stuff she's looking for. So I'll encourage you to take before and after pictures. So she comes back. To her doctor's credit, he takes before and after pictures. Can you see the difference between picture 1 and picture 2? Now what about all the way to the right when she's 87? Can you see the difference? Does she look younger, more vibrant, ready to take on the world? Happy? Think about that for a second. Just by helping the skin cells, or the cells, communicate like they're supposed to. Let me ask you, are there toxins in our environment? Are there toxins in our food? Are there toxins? People say, well, once I start feeling better, do I have to keep drinking it? As long as there's toxins in the environment, and there's toxins, yes. It's your first line of defense. I've got a doctor out of Lubbock, Texas. People flying all around the world to come sit down and talk to this guy because he's just really savvy. He got on this product in 2010. And one of the guys who stabilized it got him on it. One smart people. So he knew the science. He started drinking it, and it tasted like what some of y'all said, nasty. And then he said, I'm not doing this. This is crazy. You know what got him? 2017, one of our associates walked into his clinic, showed him the genetic study, which I went through a second ago, lit his tail on fire, and today, first line of defense. If you want to be his patient, you have to get on Asea. I'm telling you guys, I'll tell you more stuff this afternoon too. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm going to breeze through this pretty quick because you're going to hear a lot of testimonials today. Here's a good friend of mine out of Dripping Springs, Texas. I do live in Dripping Springs, not Austin. Austin's a little bit strange for me. So you've got Dripping right here. She's a teacher. She suffers from a condition where her body is attacking itself. She's had surgeries, multiple surgeries. One of them is where her wrist is fused. Do y'all know what that means? Well, let me ask you truly, do you know what it means? She cannot do a push-up. She cannot brush her. Have you ever broken an arm? Is it inconvenient? She cannot write with this hand. She cannot brush her hair with this hand. She cannot clean herself with it. And I never thought about this. She started sharing. I'm like, dang, I never thought about that. Because it's easy, but she was living through this for almost 20 years on medication, anyway, long story short, get on the product. This is a 3-day festival we have in Dripping Springs, Texas. She never could really hardly attend because she couldn't stay long enough. But she quoted, this is last year, 2019, after she'd been on the product roughly 6 months. By the way, she was on a medication for almost 20 years. 2 weeks after being on the product, she's off medication. 4 months later, she's in full remission. But this is what she posted. After living with a terrible crippling disease for the last 20 years, not to mention all the bad things that go along with this disease, I can honestly say my body has not felt